A.P.J Abdul Kalam can be described as an honest, simple, and self disciplined individual whose contributions continue to inspire generations, emphasizing the importance of education, innovation, and national development. Fakir Jainul Abidin Abdul Kalam was an Indian aerospace scientist and statesman who served as the 11th President of India from 2002 to 2007. He was born on 15th October 1931 to a Tamil Muslim family in the pilgrimage center of Rameswaram on Pamban Island of Tamil Nadu. His father, Jainul Abidin Marakayar, was a boat owner and imam of a local mosque. His mother, Ashiamma, was a housewife. His father owned a ferry that took Hindu pilgrims back and forth between Rameswaram and the now uninhabited Dhanushkodi. As a young boy, he had to sell newspapers to add to the family's meager income. In his school years, Kalam had average grades but was described as a bright and hardworking student who had a strong desire to learn. He spent hours on his studies, especially mathematics. After completing his education at Squash Higher Secondary School, Ramanathapuram, Kalam went on to attend the St. Joseph's College, Tiruchirappalli, from where he graduated in physics in 1954. Kalam moved to Madras in 1955 to study aerospace engineering in Madras Institute of Technology. He narrowly missed achieving his dream of becoming a fighter pilot as he placed ninth in qualifiers and only 8 positions were available in the IAF. He spent the next 4 decades as a scientist and science administrator, mainly at the Defense Research and Development Organization and Indian Space Research Organization, and was intimately involved in India's space program and military missile development efforts. He thus came to be known as the Missile Man of India for his work on the development of ballistic missile and launch vehicle technology. This was his first stage in which he learnt leadership from three great teachers: Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, Professor Satish Dhawan, and Dr. Brahm Prakash. This was the time of learning and acquisition of knowledge for him. After graduating from the Madras Institute of Technology in 1960, Kalam joined the Aeronautical Development Establishment of the Defense Research and Development Organization as a scientist after becoming a member of the Defense Research and Development Service. He started his career by designing a small hovercraft but remained unconvinced by his choice of job at DRDO. Kalam joined the INCO SPAR working under Vikram Sarabhai, the renowned space scientist. He was interviewed and recruited into ISRO by H.G.S. Murthy, the first director of Tumba Equatorial Rocket Launching Station. In 1969, Kalam was transferred to the Indian Space Research Organization, where he was the project director of India's first satellite launch vehicle, which successfully deployed the Rohini station in near Earth orbit in July 1980. Kalam had started work on an expandable rocket project independently at DRDO in 1965. In 1969, Kalam received the government's approval and expanded the program to include more engineers. From 1963 to 1964, he visited NASA's Langley Research Center in Hampton, Virginia. He also went to Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland, and Wallops Flight Facility. Between 1970 and 1990s, Kalam made an effort to develop the Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle (PSLV) and SLV-III projects, both of which proved to be successful. Kalam was invited by Raja Ramanna to witness the country's first nuclear test, Smiling Buddha, as a representative of TBRL, even though he had not participated in its development. In the 1970s, Kalam also directed two projects, namely Project Devil and Project Valiant, which sought to develop ballistic missiles from the technology of the successful SLV program. Despite the disapproval of the Union cabinet, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi allotted secret funds for these aerospace projects through her discretionary powers under Kalam's directorship. Kalam played an integral role convincing the Union cabinet to conceal the true nature of these classified aerospace projects. His research and educational leadership brought him great laurels and prestige in the 1980s, which prompted the government to initiate an advanced missile program under his directorship. Kalam and Dr. V.S. Arunachalam, a metallurgist and scientific advisor to the defense minister, worked on the suggestion by the then Defense Minister R. Venkatraman on a proposal for simultaneous development of a quiver of missiles instead of taking planned missiles one after another. R. Venkatraman was instrumental in getting the cabinet approval for allocating rupees 3.88 billion for the mission named Integrated Guided Missile Development Program IGMDP and appointed Kalam as the chief executive. Kalam played a major part in developing many missiles under the mission, including Agni, an intermediate range ballistic missile, and Prithvi, the tactical surface to surface missile. Although the projects have been criticized for mismanagement and cost and time overruns, Kalam served as the chief scientific advisor to the Prime Minister and Secretary of the Defense Research and Development Organization from July 1992 to December 1999. The Pokhran II nuclear tests were conducted during this period, in which he played an intensive political and technological role. Kalam served as the chief project coordinator along with Rajagopala Chidambaram during the testing phase. Media coverage of Kalam during this period made him the country's best known nuclear scientist. In 1998, along with cardiologist Soma-Raju, Kalam developed a low-cost coronary stent named the Kalam-Raju stent. In 2012, the duo designed a rugged tablet computer for healthcare in rural areas, which was named the Kalam-Raju tablet. Kalam was elected as the 11th President of India in 2002 with the support of both the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party and the then opposition Indian National Congress. During his term as president, he was affectionately known as the People's President, saying that signing the Office of Profit Bill was the toughest decision he had taken during his tenure. Kalam was criticized for his inaction in deciding the fate of 20 out of the 21 mercy petitions submitted to him during his tenure. Article 72 of the Constitution of India empowers the President of India to grant pardons and suspend or commute the death sentence of convicts on death row. In September 2003, in an interactive session in PGI, Chandigarh, Kalam supported the need of uniform civil code in India, keeping in view the population of the country. Kalam was the third president of India to have been honored with the Bharat Ratna, India's highest civilian honor, before becoming the president. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan and Zakir Hussain were the earlier recipients of Bharat Ratna, who later became the president of India. He was also the first scientist and the first bachelor to occupy Rashtrapati Bhavan. At the end of his term on 20th June 2007, Kalam expressed his willingness to consider a second term in office, provided there was certainty about his victory in the 2007 presidential elections. However, 2 days later, he decided not to contest the presidential election, again stating that he wanted to avoid involving Rashtrapati Bhavan from any political processes. Widely referred to as the People's President, he returned to his civilian life of education, writing, and public service after a single term. In 2011, Kalam was criticized by civil groups over his stand on the Kudankulam nuclear power plant. He supported the establishment of the nuclear power plant and was accused of not speaking with the local people. The protesters were hostile to his visit as they saw him as a pro nuclear scientist and were unimpressed by his assurances he provided regarding the safety features of the plant. On 18th June 2012, Kalam declined to contest the 2012 presidential poll. He said of his decision not to do so, many citizens have also expressed the same wish. It only reflects their love and affection for me and the aspiration of the people. I'm really overwhelmed by this support. This being their wish, I respect it. I want to thank them for the trust they have in me. After leaving office, Kalam became a visiting professor at the Indian Institute of Management, Shillong, the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, and the Indian Institute of Management, Indore, an honorary fellow of Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, chancellor of the Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology, Thiruvananthapuram, professor of aerospace engineering at Anna University, and an adjunct at many other academic and research institutions across India. He taught information technology at the International Institute of Information Technology, Hyderabad, and technology at Banaras Hindu University and Anna University. In May 2012, Kalam launched a program for the youth of India called What Can I Give Movement, with the central theme of defeating corruption. Dr. A.P.J Abdul Kalam was a visionary, a scientist, and an inspiration. On 27th July 2015, while delivering a lecture at the Indian Institute of Management, Shillong, Kalam collapsed and died from an apparent cardiac arrest, aged 83. Thousands, including national level dignitaries, attended the funeral ceremony held in his hometown of Rameswaram, where he was buried with full honors. Kalam was noted for his integrity and his simple lifestyle. He never owned a television set and was in the habit of rising at 6:30 or 7 a.m. and sleeping by 2 a.m. His few personal possessions included his books, his veena, some articles of clothing, a CD player, and a laptop. At his death, he left no will, and his possessions went to his eldest brother who survived him.